Hello friends, if you like layouts that are quick and easy to put together, then you are going to love this video. But if you love adding stamping and embellishing and techniques, I've also got something in store for you. Now I am going to be putting together one of Close to My Heart's Cut Above layout kits. I love these kits because they are beautifully designed and everything comes pre-cut for you. So I am just going to do, I'm going to do layout 2 here. It's interesting, these are not my typical colors. I tend to gravitate toward bright colors like this, and I wanted to put this layout together, but I wanted to also start a vacation album for a DC and East Coast trip that I did with some friends for this wedding, and I decided to start with the wedding, and the colors work perfectly with layout number 2. I don't often wear these purpley colors, but I think that it's going to look really beautiful with this kind of purpley and the pinks and grays that we have in this layout. So what I did first to pick out my photos is I looked at the layout and I saw that I have the vertical 4x6, and I printed one of those on my Epson PM400 printer. And then I found 2 landscape orientation 4x6s, and I printed those. And then I was trying to find some that I wanted 3x4 in landscape orientation. I couldn't find any, but I found this one that I wanted 4x6 also. So instead of the 2 3x4s here, I'm going to add another portrait orientation 4x6. And then we've got this 3x3 size over here, and I had 3 photos that worked well for that. There's this one of my friend trying to warm her hands over the little candle. It was so funny. This wedding was in Pennsylvania, out in the country. It was beautiful. They had it set up for a beautiful outdoor wedding, fall colors and everything, and it was pouring the whole night. So they had to move everything to the reception area, which was inside. So the ceremony was there too. It was freezing because it was raining all night, but it was so fun. We just had a blast, but it was freezing. That's why she was trying to warm her hands more just to stage for a photo. And then this is the tent where the wedding was, and it stopped raining finally near the end, and so we went out for some fresh air and got the picture with the tent back there. And then there's inside the tent. So I'm going to put all of these in a flip flap. I want this on top, and this is my secret weapon when I want to add even more photos. You've probably seen me use these before if you watch my channel. There is this sticky flap here that sticks right on top of your page protector. So since I want this one on top, I want this one to be glued on the layout. So I'm going to put these 2 in. I'm going to put them upside down because this flap is going to flip up. So you want the one underneath to be upside down. So I'll just go ahead and stick those in now, and then those are out of the way, and I'll put them off to the side, and then I'll show you how to adhere them later on in the video. I'll make sure that that gets all lined up. A lot of times I'll glue these back to back so they don't shift and you don't see the little white piece from behind. But now we've got our little flip flap there, and that will just go right on top and flip up, so we'll see more of the story. And this one will be glued right onto the layout, so you'll see me just working with this one on the layout. So that's how I adapted my photos to work with this. And when I show these types of layouts, I often try to show you to think outside what is here and put your own spin on it, make it work for your photos, because you don't always have the right sizes to use that this calls for. And that's also why I encourage you to not use the photo placeholders that this comes with. So if you don't have photos but you want to put the layout together, you can just put the photo placeholders on until you get the photos. But until you get the photos, you don't know what sizes you want them and what orientation and all that. So I always like to scrapbook with my photos for that reason. So I've got my photos chosen, and now I need to just go through and select the embellishments. So I'm doing layout 2, so I'm going to pop out all of these die cuts that have the little 2. I won't do it all on camera, but just want to show you that they are really easy to pop out here. Sometimes it leaves a little nub on there. Let's see, like right here you can see that. So if that bothers you, like I don't like it on there if it's real noticeable, I just go around and kind of trim those little nubs off, and that's really easy to do. So I'll go ahead and pop out all of the number 2s here. We'll save I'll probably pop out number 1 also and just save it with the number 1 layout. And then this is the sticker sheet, so we'll use all of the stickers that say number 2, which is really just these ones right here. These ones are all for layout 1. And then we have this beautiful base page, and I just love this. It looks like you went to the trouble of cutting all of these out of patterned paper, but it's all done for you. So you've got all of these beautiful patterns and the mat around there and the splatters and everything that's already done for you on the base pages. We'll just add some layers on there with our photos and our embellishments to make it look a little more dimensional. I'm probably going to be adding a little bit of stamping and some other little embellishments to add a special little touch and to kind of jazz it up a little bit more, because these don't have a ton of embellishing, so I like to add more of that. This is the base page and mats for layout number 1, and then it also comes with page protectors. So I'll go ahead and gather everything I need for this layout, and then we'll dive in. All right, I've got everything prepared. I'm working on my Versamats, which I do often. It really helps me line up, and it does double duty. It helps me stay in frame for you. Now, if you notice, I've got mats on these photos here, but not over here. I'm going to talk about that in a moment, but first I want to talk about the photo placement. I decided to put this one with the yellow dress on the outside. So we have that bright pop of yellow, which is not, you know, in every photo, way over here. So your eye is drawn to that, and then we'll have an embellishment cluster up here. And then I've got the other pop of yellow up here. So your eye goes to the bright yellow to the bright yellow. We've got bright green in the background here, and her yellow dress, a little bit of it showing under her jacket here. And then we'll have embellishments here. So I wanted to draw your eye across the page, and one way to do that is with the color in the photos, and then we can add to that with our embellishment clusters as well. So we'll have the big flower embellishment cluster up here, and then we'll have some other clusters over here to draw your eye across. So that was my photo placement. Now, if you notice here, this is how the layout calls for, and I have my little cheat sheet just folded in half right here in front of me. It's leaning against my camera stand, but you can put it up against anything that you have in front of you. It doesn't call for photo mats, but I feel like these photos get just lost. And the first thing I almost always do in a layout is add a white mat to my photos. In this case, it is French Vanilla, which is more of an off-white. So you can see right away that by adding that French Vanilla mat behind my photos, which have a pretty dark background, you're starting to see it pop off of the page. We have all of these different colors in the background and all of these different colors in the photos, and they just were getting lost. So I feel like that helps, but it just didn't do enough. And so when I was trying to decide what photo mat color to use, I was looking at all the colors that I have in here, but I didn't think that that would pop enough because it's going to be either up against the mist or up against the mulberry. Black maybe could have worked, but I just wanted a little more pop than that. And then I decided on Sangria. Now this is a retired color, and this is the true Sangria color. I have lots of Sangria left in my stash. I turned it over to the light side. Olive Close to My Heart's cardstock is a lighter side on the back, so it's like a 2-for-1, and that matches the flowers in here really well. So I decided to try that. So that not only is going to make my photos pop off the background more because it's a different color, it draws in the color from my dress, and it ties in these flowers up here, which this color, this dark, deeper purple color, doesn't show up anywhere in the background. So by adding this photo mat color, it really helps to pop everything off the page. Now I'm ready to adhere everything down, and you can see how handy that Versamat is. I just have a T-square ruler to help me line that up and make sure everything is straight. I did the rest off camera, and I'm just going to dry fit all of these little embellishments. For the most part, I am following along with the guide and where it says to place everything. I had these 3 little triangle things that are supposed to go on different photos, and I was trying to place them around, but I ended up just not liking them. Sometimes they just don't work with the design, with the photos that you have, so I just decided to leave them off of my particular layout.
This little piece right here is designed to look like the little hole on the tag, so I'll place that on there. It's just a little sticker. And I don't like to leave a naked hole, as my friend Katie calls it, so I'm going to add a little rhinestone, a silver glitter gem, to the top of that. And I wanted to show you these little poker tools that I have. My friend Cindy was so amazing and made them and sent them to me. One is made from a stainless steel cocktail stirrer and the other from a stainless steel turkey lacer, and they are just so cute, so I wanted to show those to you. Okay, so now it's time to place the stickers. I'm using this anti-static powder bag to take the stick off, and that will allow me to move them around a little bit more. For the most part, again, I'm keeping them in the same places. I wanted to move the flowers down a bit more than the picture called for because I wanted them overlapping my photo a little bit since I had the space. And then over on the right side, I thought, you know what, that big white flower is overlapping a lot of the white embellishment pieces. So I switched them so that the white flower would mostly be overlapping the background and the purple flower would be overlapping the white pieces. While I was doing this, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was moving that little square piece down that has the little, pink outline, the mulberry outline, thinking like, oh, I want to have that down more so I have room for journaling. Well, duh, I have a whole tag for journaling right next to it. So sometimes, I don't know, our mind just does weird things, but you'll see in the end I end up moving it back up so it's more of a base for my embellishment cluster, definitely not a journaling spot. I cut some leaves from two of my favorite leaf dies. This one here is from the Layered Flowers die set, and this one is from the Sprigs and Leaves die set. And this is the one I ended up using only. I didn't really like the shape of the other one with the leaves that were already on the stickers. And they are cut out of Seabrook glitter paper. Isn't that so pretty? It's just like such a subtle pop of color and a beautiful pop of shine, and I think that it just makes a world of difference. But you know me, I am all about adding the leaves everywhere. I love having sprigs and leaves. You can never have too much of that. It just adds so much dimension. It can add color, sparkle, like they're just perfect for so many things. So I'm gonna add those around, and I wanted to keep this part in, just gluing this cluster down to show you how when I've got everything placed and I don't want it to move, this is pretty much how I leave my clusters. So the leaves I took out and added some liquid glue to because I could easily stick those back down, and then just added some tape runner under the rest. I think for the other clusters I did a mix of tape runner and liquid glue. It doesn't really matter, but that's just kind of how I make sure that I have everything in the right place. Sometimes I will also take a picture. If I do need to remove everything, then I'll refer to the picture when I'm placing it back together. So a little bit about these photos. These are all friends that we met in Oregon when we lived there, and two of them still live there and the rest of us are all over the country. So Callie, who is the bride, she moved back to Pennsylvania where she's from, and her husband is from there. And she and Christy, who's in the yellow, and Andy, who's in the middle picture in the top, all worked with my husband. And so that's how we all met. And then the significant others all met, and we all just hit it off and have such a good time together. So this was a great excuse to all get together again and go to Pennsylvania for the wedding. We had just moved to Colorado, and we decided to make a whole trip out of it. We went to DC, Baltimore, I don't even remember where else we went, but those layouts will be coming up. But we just had the best time, and it was fun to be together again. All right, so let's put this flip flap on. I have the page protector on my right side already, and then I just peeled off that backing, folded it back, and then stick it on the page protector. I'm going to burnish it in really well. It's a very strong adhesive. I have never had a problem with these coming off. In fact, it's really hard to get them off if you need to, but that's it. And so there, we're going to flip it up and flip it down, and now I'm going to add some stamping because I forgot to do that before I added the flip flap. So I was looking at a couple of stamp sets. The first one, this one is the stamp of the month for this month, the January. It's got some really great sentiments, one of them being, stuff about new beginnings. And I thought that would be really appropriate for a wedding. But the font was a little bit too playful to go with this more elegant style layout. So I decided to go with this stamp set. It's called Remember This Moment, and it's a sentiment set, but instead of being sentiments for cards like a lot of sentiment sets, it's sentiments for scrapbooking. So there were lots that would have worked for this, and I decided to go with friendship because it fit perfectly, although I could have masked some of the other ones, but I just wanted to go with this. And I thought I would use charcoal ink since that is the color that the title is in, and some of the other sentiments. And I used Seabrook ink to do a light color wash underneath it, just like the capturing and the love this sentiments that were already provided. So I had to remember that this is going to dry back a little bit lighter than as I put it down, but I also didn't want to go too dark because you can't take it back. So I dabbed it off once I got some ink on my brush onto some scrap paper and then blended it onto the bottom there. And then I'm going to stamp my friendship stamp right on top of that. And I think it draws your eye down to the bottom since we have some type, some, words in all of the embellishment clusters. I wanted to have some words down there to just kind of keep with the consistency. So here is how all of that turned out. I kept very close to the original design, but just added a lot more detail. That capturing is on thin 3D foam tape, as you saw me do, and then I also put the Love This on thin 3D foam tape, just to give it a little bit of lift and dimension. And then there is our stamping, and of course all that splatter. It looks so realistic, but it's printed there on the base page. I typically add splatter anyway, so I love that. I hope you enjoyed today's layout, and if so, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in the supplies, I have everything linked down below, and check out the video on screen to see another kit layout come to life. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.